Once again, this one's long. Please watch the videos that are embedded and take notes from the tables. I'm just going to go briefly through some of the pictures. So these are mostly muscles of the bottom half, right? So your legs and feet. Okay, so typically let me just say there's a ton of muscles in the legs. So they're kind of hard to learn. But they're grouped between anterior, medial, and posterior. So I want you to really look at what they do and go through each one. The anterior ones flex the femur at the hip and they extend the leg at the knee. So when you're walking, you're kicking your leg out. And then the posterior muscles do the opposite and they do the backswing of walking. And then you also have muscles that abduct and adduct. Okay. So your legs are able to do flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, circumduction, rotation, because you have that ball and socket joint with your femur. Iliopsoas is the prime mover of flexion, and then you have these other ones like tensor fasciae latae and rectus femoris, and they are synergist with the adductor and sartorius. And then your extensors are mostly your hamstring muscles. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Here's your iliopsoas here and here. So your iliacus and your psoas major, it's right here. Really important to keep those strong. This is your quadratus lumborum and your psoas minor. And then down here you have your tensor fasciae lata. This is pectineus. This is your sartorius that wraps around from your pelvis to around your knee. Really important muscle. And then your quadriceps. So this is probably the main muscle that you've heard of or worked out is your quadricep, your quads, right? Your quadricep is made up of three things actually. So it's your rectus femoris, your vastus lateralis, and your vastus medialis. So lateralis is on the outside, medialis is on the inside. That all together is your quadriceps. And then you have adductor longus. This is what brings your leg in to the midline. If you're riding a horse, this is what keeps you on the horse. Plus your adductor magnus, and then your gracilis also help with that. Okay. Then you have your adductors, which I just talked about. So they, when you have a pulled groin, this is probably what you've pulled. So adductor magnus, adductor longus, adductor brevis, pectineus, and gracilis. So these three together are going to help you really adduct your legs in. Okay, so here they are. Adductor magnus is all of these composed of adductor brevis, adductor longus. This is your pectineus. I think we saw it in the last picture. So those are really going to help you bring your leg in. Okay, then your quadriceps I already showed you. These are your knee extensors, super important muscles. So here they are again. Quadriceps are the rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, and vastus medialis. So there's that. And then you do have a vastus intermedius, which is just a little nub right here. Okay. Okay. Then for abductors, so these allow, and lateral rotators, so this allows you to move your leg outward. You have all of these muscles and what they do. So gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, piriformis, obturator externus, obturator internus, and gemellus. So watch all these videos. They'll help you see that and try out the movements yourself. Do a little workout. Okay, so gluteus maximus is the big one that we think of that makes your rear end, and then gluteus medius is underneath it. And I don't think we can see gluteus minimus here. Once again, this is your adductor magnus, your gracilis right here. Let's see. Then this is your biceps femoris. So this is essentially your hamstrings. With your semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Those are all your hamstrings. And there they are in real life. And then you have, so here's gluteus medius underneath that. So you have gluteus maximus here, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus. Here is your piriformis, superior gemellus, obturator internens, inferior gemellus, quadratus femoris, obturator externus. So all, oh, I'm sorry, there's your gluteus maximus. So continuing up here. So all of those are working together to abduct your leg. There's your obturator externus. Okay, so you have hamstrings, you know how to work those out. They're run by the sciatic nerve. And if you pull your hamstring, you know what that means. I think we've already looked at all of these. Just a repeat. Okay. Then you have ankle and toes. So you've got flexor, extensor, and fibular retinacula. Okay, so you can do these movements with your foot and your toes. With your ankle, you can do dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. With your intertarsal joints, you can invert and evert your foot. And then with the toes, you can do flexion and extension. These are the main muscles for toe extensors and ankle dorsiflexors. So tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, fibularis tertius, if some people don't have it, and then extensor hallucis longus. Okay, so let's see. You have your fibularis longus over here. This is your gastrocnemius, that's your calf muscle, right? Tibialis anterior is right here. Your extensor digitorum longus. Your soleus is right here. It wraps around on like the front of your shin. And then if you have it, the fibularis tertius, the extensor hallucis longus. And then they also, like your hands, they connect to these tendons. And you have some muscles down here, but they're the ones that allow your foot to move. Here's your tibialis anterior that wraps around your leg, kind of like your sartorius in your upper leg. Okay. So there they are kind of individually. Okay. Lateral compartment of the leg, you can do flexion or eversion of the foot using your fibularis longus and fibularis brevis. So fibularis longus is here. Fibularis brevis is here, so you can like extend and flex your foot. And it wraps around like that. Okay, then you have ankles and toes. You have superficial and deep muscles. So this is your, that's your soleus right there. Here's your gastrocnemius. Oh, it's cut away. That's why your gastrocnemius is cut away here. Right here's your popliteus, which is the back of your knee. Your plantaris that connects your upper leg and lower leg, and then you've got the fibularis longus and fibularis brevis. So there's your soleus again. Gastrocnemius is cut away still. I think we've seen this, but tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, popliteus there, and flexor hallucis longus. Okay, and then the ones that do toe movement and arch support, extensor digitorum brevis is your dorsal foot muscle that helps you point your toes. There's 4 layers, and so they're just stacked one after another, right? This is the bottom of your foot, the plantar aspect, right? So there's your heel right here, your calcaneal tuberosity in your bottom of your toes. So you have abductor, where am I? Flexor digitorum brevis here. You have limbricals in between, just like on your hands. You have flexor digiti minimus brevis, abductor hallucis, abductor digiti minimi, no, right here, digiti minimi. So all those different muscles help you to be a ballerina if you choose. There's your limbricals. So those are all the different muscles there. Okay, still plantar aspect. This is the 3rd layer. So as you go deeper and deeper, you see more layers. And then the 4th layer. So those are the little interossei and the digital interossei. Okay, this is the same thing that we had before. So this shows you like the different actions that your hip can do and your knee and which muscles are the prime movers. And then your ankles and toes and which muscles are the prime movers for these actions. Cross section here of the upper leg, you've got your femur right here. Back here's your hamstrings and then your adductors that bring your leg back in. And then this is your quadriceps, your vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis, and rectus femoris wrapping around there. And then lower leg, you have your tibia in front here, which you know, that's the front of your leg. You have tibialis anterior, fibularis, and triceps surae right here. So that helps you do all these different motions. So try these motions out and look at what muscles are doing these. That's it.